Prolific horror producer Jason Blum takes another stab in the dark. Will it be one of his hits or misses? You're watching Beyond the Trailer's review of Oculus.
We were just kids. We made up a scary story so we wouldn't have to accept the fact that our father was a sick man who killed our mom. Why don't we just end it right now and smash the damn thing?
First, I intend to prove that the people I've just described were victims of the supernatural force that resides in that mirror.
You want to redeem the family name?
You promised me you'd never forget what really happened.
I was 10 years old.
Daddy?
Jason Blum has worked hard to corner the horror genre, and as a reward, he can now make the Gem movie. But he's not going to count his holographic rockers before they sing, so for insurance, he's continuing with his steady flow of low-budget, high-concept horror films. Starting with Paranormal Activity back in 2009, Blum is behind that franchise, as well as Sinister, the Insidious movies, The Purge, and its upcoming sequel. He's only had a few misses, most notably TV series The River and Dark Skies. But see, Blum actually never really misses, as these films are so cheap they are guaranteed to make a profit. And the reason Blum can make quality films for so little money is that he trades artistic freedom for salary. His talent works pretty much for free, but they get to make the movie they want and potentially go on to direct Fast 7. Yes, Blum allowed James Wan to make the first Insidious, which got Wan's career back on track. So who's Blum backing this time? That would be editor-turned-writer-director Mike Flanagan, who was eager to turn his original short film, Oculus Chapter 3, The Man with a Plan, into the far more marketable Just Oculus. It also now stars fanboy crush Karen Gillan instead of a dude. Ah, Blum's counsel is wise. Oculus also stars Australian soap star Brenton Thwaites and veteran fanboy hottie Katee Sackhoff. Plus these cute kids. But expanding a short film to feature length is tricky business. Gillan is already set to star in Guardians of the Galaxy, Thwaites in Maleficent, and Blum has a gabillion more films just like this in the pipeline, plus that Gem movie. So, Mike Flanagan, you're the only one in danger of being trapped in this mirror.
I hate horror movies. I hate them. I am so sorry I saw this. It was genuinely disturbing. And the entire time I was watching it, I thought to myself, why am I allowing ideas like this, images, to be put into my brain forever? They're in the bank. But if that's why you go and see horror movies, if that experience appeals to you, and there is a large group that it does appeal to, or else they wouldn't be making these movies, Jason Blum wouldn't have built a whole mini horror empire, then you should see Oculus. Because I have to say, despite my personal disgust and intense discomfort, technically, this is a very well-crafted film. It looks good. I also think it's a good example of a horror film that's made on the cheap that doesn't look cheap. We discussed that recently with the Sin City 2 trailer. They actually played that in front of this movie. And again, you can't really focus on what Robert Rodriguez is doing because everything just looks so cheap. Here, that's not the case. I think they're able to hide a low budget and low budget scares quite well. I was very scared. I hid my face. I was a big wiener because it was really scary. And as I said, also really disturbing. I don't want to give anything away, but I would almost say this is like the inception of horror films, because it really made me question reality when I left, and that was something I really thought was creepy about it. And I haven't had a film, kind of affect me in terms of, sucking me into like the world that it's created, the rules, since I'd say Final Destination. So I'll be curious to see if this is a hit with horror fans. Do I have any critiques about it from an artistic point of view? I'd say only one, actually, and that is that I think that the film takes a little bit too long to get started. I don't know if it's because it was a short expanded to a feature, and so they needed to draw things out to fill time, but I would say it takes about 10 to 15, maybe even 20 minutes too long to really set up what we're doing here. I mean, it's kind of hinted at the trailer, I guess, but it really started to wear thin on me. I understand the principles of suspense, but even that said, I started to be like, come on, what's going on here, Karen Gillan? Just tell us what the plan is. When she did, I thought it was pretty well thought out. This was one of those horror films where you're not like, oh, the characters. To some degree, they were being a little stupid, but it wasn't ridiculously stupid. And things, the world, as I said, the rules that were created worked. And you could see that Mike Flanagan put a ton of thought into this. He didn't take this lightly. So that's impressive. As for the actors, Karen Gillan, she did make an impression on me. I thought she was very good. I wasn't like, she's my new favorite actress, but I can see why she has her fans, and it made me more interested to see her in Guardians of the Galaxy. Brenton Thwaites, though, maybe in his other, ton of films that are coming out this year, he'll make more of an impression, but here, it's not his fault so much. I guess to some degree it's always an actor's fault if they don't really make an impression, but I don't think the script and the film really helps him out. He really has to play to some degree devil's advocate. But the real stars of the film are the kids. Very good kid actors. They're very good. They're asked to do some very adult things that, when you think about it, and, I was like, it's not real, it's not real. Let's think about child actors on the set, Grace. So you're like, I wonder how their parents felt telling that their kid had to do this in the scene. But they did a good job. These are professional child actors. I looked them up. They've worked, the little boys work more than the girl. But she was really good, and I loved her look. I thought she had a really good, interesting look, even more so than Karen Gillan. She had a really interesting, when you're an on-screen actor, your look is important. And I'm not always saying, it's not always about like who's sexiest, who's the best looking, and who has the most interesting look. And this young actress has a very interesting look, and also something you don't see a lot in movies, which I think adds to what makes it interesting. So again, if you don't like horror movies, this isn't like The Conjuring or The Shining or the others, which are kind of like very, they're like mid-range horror films. They're more elegant. I guess that's the word I would use. They're elegant horror films. So fans, squeamish fans like myself who like a good scare but prefer ghost stories instead of horror films, I guess that's the difference here. We like that kind of movie. This isn't that. It might seem a little bit like that from the trailer. It's not. It's a gory horror film. Very scary. Not like Saw or Hostel gory, but gory enough, I think, to please that fan base. And certainly not Evil Dead. But it was too much for me. Really too much. I mean, as I said, I'm really sorry I saw it. So I'm curious, what do you guys think if you've seen this film? What do you think of it from a horror point of view? What do you think from a filmmaker's point of view starting out? And what did you think of the actors? Do you agree with me that young girl is the standout? Or here's your chance, Karen Gillan fans and Brenton Thwaites fans, to defend their performances. So thank you so much for tuning in to my review. I hope you enjoyed it. I tried to be really objective despite absolutely despising, the genre and the material. So I hope it was helpful in helping you to decide whether or not to see the film. So thank you so much for tuning in, and you can check out some more episodes right now.